Anushri, you can brief over here.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Sure. Hi all. I'm Anushree. I'm from Karnataka. So I have experience of 3 years in manual testing. So I just wanted to skill on the cloud computing. So just wanted to join the course. So how it goes and let's see. Excited to learn.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great, great, Anu. Great.
Yeah.
Um, so next we'll go to Anjali. Hi, Anjali.
Hello all, good evening. My name is Neha. So currently I'm working as a full stack developer. So I'm just looking for a change in my career. So just wanted to start with this AWS and DevOps.
All right. Okay. I'll go to Shweta. Shweta, I spoke to you, I guess.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. I'll go to Sid then. Hi, Sid.
yeah.
There are a few more people who are joining in. So, we'll keep this in the question hour, right? That will make it because we won't be making we won't be giving more time for the intros here. So let us dive in first. If we have any questions, if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, if you have any anything you want to know about the course, I'll give you some time during the question hour. You can definitely shoot your questions and I'll be answering them. So I won't be having a look at your faces. So first of all, this should be a two-way communication. So I want one of you to respond. Anyone you can pick, and someone should be continuously acknowledging so that I can understand that you are still here. So let me share my screen to you. All right. So I'll take the confirmation once the screen is visible. You should be seeing my screen by now. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So can you see my PPT? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So hello all. Welcome to the DevOps Master Course demo by Dashram Technologies. My name is Ram. I am your trainer. So if you want to know about me, I have around 8+ years of experience into IT. I'm currently working with a reputable MNC. Can't tell the name here, but I'm a DevOps engineer currently. I have training experience of around 6 years. I have certifications from various vendors like I'm AWS, Amazon Certified AWS Solution Architect Associate, as well as Microsoft Certified Azure Administrator. I also conducted corporate trainings in my life as with some companies like Intelligence, BSIT, and etc. So my sessions are always hands-on. Complete hands-on will be there. We will be discussing the real-world scenarios, etc. So now let us go ahead. Let us not waste the time and go into what is DevOps, first of all. So most of you, some of you came for Linux, some of you came for AWS, some may be coming for DevOps for the master course. So this demo will cover everything. So don't worry about it because all we will be discussing about is getting into support these days. So after finishing this course, you can become Linux administrators, you can become cloud engineers, you can become DevOps engineers, whatever you choose. So coming to the DevOps, what is DevOps? Most of the people will ask you. Most of the people who are joining recently will be having the question: what is DevOps? What is DevOps? DevOps, what is it? So when we are talking about DevOps, DevOps is not a tool or not a set of tools. DevOps is the principles you follow. Earlier, we used to have something called release engineering. People used to call this as build and release engineering also. Build and release engineering. In this build and release engineering, what used to happen is people or companies used to send out their softwares for releases. Send their softwares for releases. Softwares for releases. So, right? You as a consumer or a customer are engaging with many types of softwares. For example, take Android or iOS. So currently iOS is running on 17 point something, and we are going to get 18 soon. So now, even if you go for Android, it is around 11 or 12, I guess. So there are 12 more versions, like version 1, version 2, version 3, and so on until version 12. So now we are looking at the softwares going rapidly into the market with the updates again and again and again. So what is happening here is we are following something called continuous flow. We are following something called continuous flow. What is this continuous flow, you may ask? What is this continuous flow? Every time you see DevOps, you will be seeing a loop particularly. So the DevOps infinity loop, they call it. So let me show you that loop. You will understand it better. So this is the DevOps continuous loop. So what is the meaning of the infinity that is there here? If you can see here, somewhere it should be there. 1 second, please. Okay. So when you are having a look at something like this, you need to understand something. This is infinity symbol. Infinity symbol means the process that goes on again and again and again and again. So first, there will be planning, there will be coding, there will be building. On to the build, there is test. After the test, there will be release, deploy, operate, monitor. So first of all, when a software used to go out, what the earlier models used to do is, for example, like traditional models like waterfall model or agile model, when you have a look at it, currently also we are using agile model, but the previous agile models are not that efficient. Why, we will be discussing. So now, first of all, a company goes for the bidding and gets a particular project, or goes to a consultant and gets a particular project. Once it gets a particular project, it sends business analyst to gather the requirements. Once the requirements are gathered, they will do coding. Once they do coding, they will be building or integrating the code. Only one developer will not be working on the code, right? There are so many developers who are working on the code. So all these developers will come together and integrate their code into something called build. Once build is made different types of testings for them. Before the build is made, there was unit testing that was done. After the build is done, there was functional testing that used to happen. So testing used to happen. After the test, what used to happen? After the test, they used to deploy the particular application. Once the deployment of the particular application is done, what they used to do, they used to operate. Operate means people will be operating. For example, take Amazon.com. So what happens in Amazon.in, otherwise Amazon.com? You will be seeing Amazon.com and you will be seeing a lot of things inside Amazon.com. How, for example, you go to Amazon.in. Once you go to Amazon.in, you can see different things. For example, there are bestsellers, books, different categories are there. Different categories are there. Different things are there. So all these features are developed one by one, and they are integrated. Once they are integrated, they are tested. Once the test is done, the deployment is done. Once the deployment is done, what happens? Customers start pouring in. When the customers start pouring in, they will be utilizing this website and they will be getting some bugs or suggestions to the company to what to do, what not to do, how to do, etc. So after this, again, what they used to do, they used to wait for some time and then they used to collect all the resources and then they will be doing the planning again. But what used to happen here was, there was no clear communication between the teams that are there. There was no clear communication between the teams. For example, devs used to develop the application and the ops used to put that application onto a particular server so that it can work. But what used to happen here is there was a barrier between them and there was huge communication gap. So to overcome this, the collaboration of the teams started happening with something called DevOps. In here, dev means development, and ops means operations. So as a particular developer, as a particular developer, what you will be doing? You will be developing the applications. Once you have developed the applications, what you will be doing? You will be asking your DevOps team, ops teams, or the security teams to trace the vulnerabilities and get the application onto the cloud or on for the usage. So now what happened? Now the devs and the ops people are collaborating with each other in DevOps. And there are certain set of tools that will be coming into picture while we are doing the flow. So let us discuss about the tools later. First, let us talk about something called roles and responsibilities. What does the DevOps engineer do is the question that will come into picture. So first, the DevOps person will be talking to the development team, QA team, operations team, and then they will collaborate with each other. And then the next thing they will be doing is automation. So what happened here was earlier when we were the Linux administrators or the cloud engineers, in the start, what we used to do is we used to go into a particular server and do something. For example, Linux administrator. I worked as a Linux administrator at the start of my life. What we used to do is we have something called HP ILO, which is integrated lights out, which is again a portal to log into your servers. So using this, we used to go into the servers and make changes to the configurations. But what happened is this market that is rapidly growing needed a lot of servers to be working on. So when the server size increases, for example, you have around 1,000 servers. Now, I cannot really log into each and every server and perform the configuration changes, right? Even if I am an administrator, I should have the capability to handle thousands of servers. That is where a tool like Ansible comes into picture. And using the Ansible scripting, we will be automating things. We will be using something called YAML over here. YAML ain't markup language is the scripting language we will be using. So in the Ansible, what we will be doing, we will be writing a playbook, otherwise a script. And by using the script, we can bring changes in these 1,000 servers within minutes or seconds. That is the use of automation that is happening inside the DevOps. So there are several things that will come into picture while automating. Not only servers, but also the environment, but also the build. Everything can be automated, not a single thing. For example, you want to make the build go. If you want a particular version of the software to be going on to the live, if you want to put a particular software into an environment, everything is automated. End to end is automated. So you as a DevOps engineer will be doing the automation. Next is configuration management. We have also talked about the configuration management right now. Then whenever the application goes on live, there should be some mechanism with which you can be monitoring how your particular application is performing. For example, you have put one web server, there is a website. So how much traffic is coming into it? How is your server performing? Time to time, how is your server doing? What is happening? What is the traffic coming in? How is the load happening? How is your cluster performing? Everything we will be monitoring by using the tools like Prometheus, Grafana, etc. And then we will also do the log management. Log management becomes very, very important when you are talking about support, because log management will give you an idea about who did what happened when, what exactly is going to happen. Every information you will be getting from log management. For log management, we will be using ELK stack, some other tools are also in place. So now you have understood that what you will be understanding by now is when there is an application that got developed by the developers. This is, for example, let us say you have an application. this application should be set onto a particular server. And on the server, this will be running. So where is this server sitting? This server may be sitting in a data center, or it may be sitting on a cloud service provider, for example. Cloud service provider in the sense, there are so many cloud service providers here. There is AWS, there is Azure, there is Rackspace, there is IBM Cloud. There are so many cloud service providers. Either your server will be sitting on a data center or it will be sitting on cloud. So now when your server is sitting on cloud, you need to maintain the environment, correct or not? For example, you're living in a home. You are living in a home. For living, you need to have the furniture, you need to have the kitchen, you need to have the utilities, you need to have everything that makes you perfectly live in this home. In the same way, the server which is there should be sitting on an environment which should be accommodating it. So for that, we choose cloud. But again, when you are using the cloud, it becomes huge problem when you are doing everything manually on the cloud. If you want to run a particular virtual machine, go into the console, log in, go to a particular service, create a particular server. This becomes a hassle. So to avoid this hassle, we will be using automation, because automation provides you something called dry principle. Dry principle means do not repeat yourself. Don't repeat again and again and again and again on thousands of servers. Just do once and everything should fall into place. For automating the cloud, we will be using infrastructure as a code tool. And the infrastructure as a code tool will be something like Terraform. Okay, good. Nice. You said there is a server. There is automation inside the server. What operating system are we going to use inside this particular server? We will be using Linux operating system in this. Okay, good. Very good. Fantastic. Next thing what we have to have an understanding is security. We will also have a look at the security. What is happening? How secure is your system? What are the vulnerabilities? What ports are open? What are the problems you are getting, etc. Even if you are getting a problem with your software, or particularly some random issue popped out in some environment, incident management, performance optimization, etc., will be done by the DevOps engineer. So DevOps engineer is one way the Linux administrator, other way the cloud engineer, other way the build and release engineer. So everything can be done by the DevOps engineer. So that is the reason why DevOps is in such relevance today. So next thing which we are going to talk about is what are we going to cover in this DevOps Master course. In this DevOps Master course, we will be completely having a look at Linux. So Linux, some of the people who tell you about DevOps will tell you that just learn Linux basics. That is enough. It's not important to learn complete Linux, but it is really important to learn the complete Linux, because applications will go on to the server, or the tools, DevOps tools which you are running will be going on to the Linux server. So this Linux server becomes much important, and you have to know how this Linux server will be working in and out. That is why we will be learning complete Linux administration in this course. I'm stressing again, we will be learning complete Linux administration. Inside Linux administration, we will be talking about basics. We'll be talking about users and group management, disk management, process management, job scheduling, performances, every other thing that comes into Linux we will discuss. And what type of Linux will we be using? We will be using Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Now that you have understood that once you have the Linux in hand, you will know how the server will be performing, what the server will do. If you do something, how will your server react? These are the things you will be understanding. Once you have a deep understanding about Linux, So once you have finished Linux, we will learn about the environment where you are keeping this particular Linux machine on. That will be AWS. In the cloud service providers, AWS is the #1 cloud service provider because it has so many things, so many services. So next, we will also be dealing with something called shell scripting. We will also see shell scripting. Why will we see shell scripting, sir? This is also the question that will come into picture. So now you have understood that we will be learning Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And we will be learning the Red Hat Enterprise Linux administration completely. Total administration we will be learning. Both system as well as the server administrations. You all might have got your curriculums or the syllabus in which we have told you that we will be covering these many topics in Linux. Every other topic on the document will be covered. The next thing is shell scripting. Shell scripting or the bash scripting will give you the idea about how to automate particular things. For example, if you want to write a particular script and do something, for example, you have around 10 commands, 10 Linux commands. Instead of running them one by one, 10 times, you can write one script and that script will do things for you. Shell scripting. Next, we will be learning AWS. Why? Because whatever server you are making, that particular server will be sitting on cloud. And that cloud service provider we will be talking about is AWS. What will we cover in AWS? In AWS, we will be covering AWS Solution Architect Associate level. AWS Solution Architect Associate level. In this solution architect associate level, we will be dealing with so many things. For example, around 12 to 13 services we will be seeing. And again, you have the idea of Red Hat Linux by the time you will be entering into AWS. Now what happens? You have 13 services. In this, for example, let us say EC2 is about creating virtual machines. You will be already having an idea about it. IAM, which is users and group management inside Linux. Again, Route 53, you will be having DNS over here. Like this, you will have so many basics which are interconnected to each other, but these will become the services and you will see how these both things will sync with each other. So now once the AWS is done, you have to understand one more thing. Anything that happens inside the server, we will be managing it with the configuration management tool in DevOps. Configuration management tool. For this configuration management tool, we will be using Ansible. Solid learning of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and we will do Ansible cakewalk. Solid foundation into AWS, we will be using infrastructure as a code tool like Terraform. Once you have solid foundation of AWS, Terraform becomes much easier. So these are the things. Next, we will be talking about few more things. Let us go back here. And I have already told you that we will be covering the DevOps principles and tools, in which the DevOps tools will come into picture. We will see the DevOps tools in a moment. And then we will be having hands-on labs, real world scenarios, real time, whatever problems you will be facing, whatever rectifications you will be doing, troubleshooting, etc., etc. And then even if you want to write the global certifications, that global certification support can also be given. Don't understand global certifications and the institute certification as same, because global certifications are given by Amazon, Microsoft, etc. If you are completing your particular certifications, you will be getting a badge like this. I got Azure Administrator and Solution Architect Associate. So now the next thing which we are going to talk about is how things work in DevOps. How does the things work in DevOps? First, you have to learn Linux. Next, you should be having cloud expertise. And then you should be knowing how the DevOps tools will come into picture. Because all the tools will be installed on Linux, and this Linux sits on cloud. So these are the three musketeers of your success. With these three, you can be able to secure your dream jobs. You can do those jobs easily without a problem. The next thing which we will be talking about is what will we cover in AWS and Linux. I have already told you we will start with basics like introduction to Linux, distributions, installations, basics, user group management, networking, security, system administration, process management, package management, patching, installing services, etc., etc., etc. There are so many things that will come into picture into Linux. Not only these, we will be covering everything that is there on the document that is given to you. The next one is AWS. In AWS, we will be covering the heart of the tool, heart of the services that are there. For example, EC2 is there, S3 is there, RDS, VPC, Route 53. Then there is CloudWatch, CloudFront, Lambda, auto scaling, load balancing. We will be discussing every other thing that will come into picture, which is useful for you to become a successful DevOps engineer. What are the next things we will be talking about? Next things we are going to talk about are DevOps tools. These DevOps tools will be important to understand the flow of a software from the scratch to the end. So for version control, we will be using Git. For configuration management, we will be using Ansible. For infrastructure as code, for infrastructure automation, we will be using Terraform. For continuous integration, continuous deployment, we will be using continuous integration, continuous delivery. Some people call it deployment also, continuous deployment. We will be using Jenkins. Then for containers, we will be using Dockers. Orchestration, you will get the basics of Kubernetes. Then there is build tool called Maven. Then there are several other tools that will come into picture. So the next thing which we are going to talk about is how does the flow of these DevOps tools exist in your companies. So first of all, what happens here is developers will get a ticket. So once the developers get a ticket, according to the requirement, they will be getting a ticket. Once they get a ticket, they will be working on the code. The developers will be working on the code and they will be pushing the code into something called repository provider. Inside the repository provider called GitHub, there are several repositories. Repositories are just like folders. So all the files will be uploaded into GitHub. Once it is given to the GitHub, all the code is sent to the Jenkins. Jenkins does continuous integration and continuous delivery or deployment. So now what happens? Jenkins gives the code to Maven. It will compile the code and run the unit testing by using SonarQube. There is a tool called SonarQube. Using this SonarQube, code quality testing is done. Once the code quality testing is sufficient, for example, let us say 98%, you have said code quality should be. So the threshold is reached. Once the threshold is reached, the particular code is sent to the Maven again, and then build will be done. So all the process, all the small Java files, for example, that came into existence, now will become one file. That is like ZAR file. That is like ZAR file, var file, EAR file, depending on the application, what you are making, one file will be made by Maven. Once the Maven makes the build, dependency check is done. Inside the dependency check, vulnerability tracking is also done. Once it is done, the code is sent into Nexus repository. The repository we will be talking about is Nexus repository. Here you will be having version 1, version 2, version 3, like this. Several versions will be there. So the first version 1 will be made. Once the version 1 will be made, then the file is sent into Docker. Now that all the files have become ZAR, onto the ZAR comes the Docker image or the container. What is a container? Earlier we used to have VMs. Earlier we used to have virtual machines. In the same way, nowadays for the microservices environment, we have something called containers. So container is nothing but there will be some RAM, there will be some CPU, there will be some other thing, and then the application sits on it. So Docker will do build and tag. Once it is done, it is sent to a tool like AquaTrivi. So Trivi does the vulnerability scan again and see whether the image, whatever you are writing, is perfect or not. Then Docker image file is written in YAML. YAML is yet another markup language, which we will be using YAML for Ansible also. We'll talk in a moment about the Ansible. Once it is in Docker, Docker push will be done and it will be deployed to Kubernetes. Once it is deployed to Kubernetes, the application is ready. Then using tools like Zap, the pen testers will be coming into picture and they will be doing the vulnerability testing, etc., on this. And again, the deployed application will be monitored by using tools like Prometheus, Grafana, etc. Will you be working on every other tool that is there on here? And will you be working on everything that is here? No. As a team player, you will be given a certain role. Then there are two other tools that are there. That is Ansible, Terraform. Ansible, I have already told you, this is used for automating the configuration management inside the servers. And wherever the server sits, that environment changes, infrastructure as a code tool will do. In infrastructure as a code tool, we will be using HCL language. And here you will be using YAML, yet another markup language. Again, infrastructure tools are of different types. There are vendor-specific tools. There are platform-independent tools. For example, if you are having a look at the vendor-specific tools in IAC, you will be getting something like CloudFormation templates by CloudFormation templates by AWS, or the platform independent like Terraform. Terraform is mostly used tool. It uses HCL language. And again, you may be asking me so many other questions like, will there be programming inside DevOps? The answer is you will be having scripting inside DevOps. What scripting is it? Depends on what you are doing. For example, you are using Ansible. If you are using Ansible, you will be using YAML. If you are writing a Docker file, again, you will be using YAML. If you are using Terraform, you will be using something called HCL language. For example, you are writing bucket policies inside AWS. There will be something called JSON. All these are data serialization languages. These are called data serialization languages. What is the difference between the language and a data serialization language, you may ask? Data serialization language is used to present the particular data to make a particular task done. Everything is in key value format. And there will be loops and etc. But there is no object-oriented level of programming here to worry about it. So where should we be starting? When someone comes to the DevOps, they will be thinking that, oh, these many tools are there, this many scripting is there. Can I be able to do it? Can I be not able to do it? No, don't worry about it. First, start with Linux. Learn Linux completely. And I always tell my trainees to take care of Linux clearly. Once you have done Linux, unlock Linux, 30% of your learning is done. Then go to AWS. Then come to the DevOps tools. Once you come to the DevOps tools, you will be learning DevOps tools individually first. And then after that, we will be connecting all the tools for our project and see how the project is working. So the next thing which we will be talking about is, here is what support you will be getting from this course. What support you will be getting from this course is, you will have dedicated career counseling sessions. Mr. Ganesh will help you out with it. I can also help you with it if you have any questions. We will also help you with resume building, mock interviews, interview preparation. Every week you will be having having tasks to be completed by Monday. We will also give you placement assistance. We have a huge pool of alumni who went from this organization, who can give references if you're attending for a particular company, if there is any reference, we can also help you out with it. And then there are certification opportunities also. For example, you have to write the Red Hat certification. You have a voucher for it. You are paying Red Hat something for the certification. You can also finish Red Hat certification, AWS certification, Terraform Associate certification. All these 3 certifications you can write without a problem. But you have to again stick to the course and be particular with your hands-on. Always, 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 DevOps is something which you should be dealing with hands-on every other day. Even if it is Linux, even if it is AWS, hands-on is really, really, really important. So these are the things we are going to cover inside the master course of Linux, AWS, and DevOps. And we also thank you. And if you got any questions, you can ask me the questions.
Yeah, Ram, Arun here.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, first question is that how we can do the Red Hat Linux practice.
That can be done. We can make virtual machines. We can make EC2 instances on AWS. We can be working with it. It will simulate the real life environment.
No, actually, on AWS there is no image like that Red Hat Linux, right? There is Amazon Linux is there. That is almost same or
no? There is Red Hat Linux on AWS. Let me show you that.
Okay.
So please. When you go to the aws.amazon.com, so if you log into your console, I'll be showing you. There will be Red Hat. So don't have to worry about it. So the AWS offers you different types of operating systems. There are several operating systems that will come into picture. Let's wait. Let me enter my MFA to get inside the console. Once I go into the console, I will show you. So when you go into the console, here there is a service called EC2. Let it load. It's taking a bit longer than expected. So now when you go to the service called EC2, can you see the screen? Yes?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. 1 second. Bear with me. Okay. When you go into the instances, you can see, you can go to the launch instances. Once you go to the launch instances, you can come down. Where are these? See here. See, there are several operating systems that are there. You can also choose Red Hat from here. Understood?
Okay.
And it is free tier eligible.
Okay, it's free version, right? Okay, thank you.
Okay. So you can make the machines, you can simulate the work environment using it, and we can work on it. That's not a big deal. And we can also create virtual machines and work on them simultaneously. So that's not a big deal. Any other questions you have? Any other questions? Anyone? Any questions? Small, little, big, anything?
And I have one doubt actually.
Yes.
Actually, all the tools need to be installed in the same machine where we are going to deploy the applications, or in different machines we need to deploy the tools. For testing the CI/CD.
See, you won't be doing it on same. You will be using different servers to be doing different things, right? So if you want to simulate a project at the end of the course, you are talking about end of the course.
Right.
At the 90th day mark or 85th day mark, you are talking about.
Maybe.
So first you have to understand something, that all the tools that are there will not fit inside one machine.
Okay.
Even if they fit inside one machine, it will be really difficult for you to simulate what happens inside the real world. So we'll be taking multiple resources and we'll be provisioning multiple things.
Okay. Actually, I wanted to know about the real-time project or in production environment, how the tools.
Production format, if you ask me, you can't spin 1,000 servers or 10,000 servers in this environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can simulate how it works. right? Because for example, let us say I work for a client called ASUS. So in this ASUS project, we will be having lot of servers. I have around 5,000 servers. So I can't put 5,000 servers and show it to you, right? Or you will not be able to simulate the 5,000 servers also because you will be getting a huge bill. So we have to consider a few things when we are simulating something. We'll be simulating it, but not in a huge scale.
And another question, DevOps engineer is supposed to do the infrastructure build up in cloud platform,
See,
or there is separate a cloud team is there who
I
will
have
build up.
told you multiple tools, right? I have told you around 10 tools or 12 tools. So what happens with DevOps engineer is, according to your project requirement, whatever tool is given to you, you should be working on it. For example, somebody will be working as automation engineer. That particular automation engineer will be working on the cloud, then Docker, then on Linux. Some person will be working on CI/CD pipelines. Some other person will be into monitoring. Some other person will be into something else. So it really depends on the company's requirement. But as a DevOps engineer, if you go into the field, you should be having an idea about each and everything that is there.
Okay. Who decides all these things? What
Company
are the
decides. Who decides?
who means I mean so there is a DevOps architect will decide which tools need to be used for these specific projects or anything else.
Architects will decide it. Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Architects will decide.
You will not be deciding anything. You will be using using the tools that are there.
Okay. The
Right?
architect will design that is a low level and a high level design will be provided by architect. Everything will be done by architect, and accordingly that infrastructure need to be built up, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, for example, you have architects, you have high level people who will be provisioning. For example, even if you provision, even if you want a tool change, it will go up to VP sometimes, and then it comes down. So really, you really can't tell that this person decides everything. No single person decides everything, right?
Okay. That means that is a teamwork completely. You can say like.
Correct, correct, correct. And one more thing is, when you enter into a company as a DevOps engineer, 99% of the time it is not your responsibility to choose the tools. You will be using the
Okay.
tools that are there already.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Guys, anything else? If you have any other questions, we can ask me.
Yeah, sir. Just a simple query. Uh, as I have experience in testing services, so
Correct.
will my experience add
Your voice is chipping.
uh,
Your voice is chipping, Ma. Your voice is chipping.
value in the cloud?
Your voice is chipping.
Now, hello.
Hello? Hello? Can
Hello.
you hear me?
Now, Ram?
Yes, now it is clear. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So, as I have experience in testing services, so
Correct.
will it add a value in the cloud
Mm,
services? If I
not exactly, but you will be having an idea about what is happening here at least,
okay,
right?
yeah,
So, so yeah. So not that it counts. So I'll tell you about it on a personal call, how you have to particularly deal with this, right?
yeah, yeah. Okay, sure.
Right. Any other questions?
Hello,
Hello?
Hello.
this is Dayanidhi. I have experience in RF engineer. I am
Correct.
working in aerospace and defense.
Correct.
Is there any possibility to make my career in cloud or DevOps?
You can definitely make a career out of DevOps. Where either you are an aeronautical engineer, either you are a tester, either you are a developer, either you are a DevOps person, either you are a Linux administrator. Anyone can get into this. There is no such thing as something restricts you from being this. You just need to have a deep understanding of the tools and the process that is happening, and you have to have an idea about the principles we are following. That will definitely land you in a job. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good
I am
evening.
Adarsh Shukla.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, sir, currently I am working as IT support engineer on
Correct.
the reputed organization. I have knowledge is only for Windows domain because this organization is Windows using a Windows 10 and Windows 11.
Correct.
But I don't have any knowledge Linux and coding. So can
I
I
will
make the career?
I will spoon feed you, sir. It's not a big deal. I'll spoon feed you. I'll spoon feed you like I'm giving it to a 5-year-old. So it's not a big deal. Don't keep that on your mind. I always tell you again and again and again and again that don't ever think that it is difficult. It is not. It is 100% not. It is just that the trainers who train people are not having patience levels in dealing with people. That's all. If you have patience, if you have clear understanding, if your trainer knows where to start and where to stop, 90% of the work will be done. But you have to follow your trainer and then you have to do the practice again and again and again till you get it. You do your part, I do my part, you will be good, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anything else?
My question is just going through some training program of how it is possible to get a job in just a MNC.
Name, please. I'm not having a look at your
Arun.
name.
Yeah, Arun. Arun here.
Varun. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Arun. Okay. So just going through the training program and doing some practice, all these things, then how is it possible, really possible to get a job, a good job?
It is possible to get a good job, but you have to be consistent.
Okay.
You have to be consistent. You have to be practicing every day. You have to be completing the tasks. Once you complete everything, you will just have an idea about what you are doing. And then going to the interviews. Interviews is a different ball game altogether, sir. Because you have to go to the interviews, perform in the interviews. Even if you don't know an answer to the question, you will come back, you will research, you will go again, you will be able to get a job. It's not a big deal, but the approach should be proper.
How difficult it is to adopt in the work culture?
It is not at all difficult, sir. Let's not get that word. That word is really dangerous when compared to when we are when we are explaining something or when we are learning something. It is really dangerous to use that word called difficult. Don't put that on your mind. It is not difficult.
No, just that is
You have to do the hard work. That's all.
Yeah.
Don't keep that on your mind that will I get a job, will this happen, will that happen, if I am starting here tomorrow I will learn Linux, day after tomorrow I will be learning AWS, after that I will be learning DevOps. Okay, will I be pro at DevOps after 3 days? Don't think all these things. Just follow the flow and you will definitely get a job. You'll definitely get a job. It's not that difficult. It is not piece of cake. It is not great difficulty like lifting Everest. It's not. Anything else? Any other questions? Anybody?
And now, what about the class or weekend class? There is a weekday class.
Those things Ganesh will talk to you.
Okay.
It is Saturday. It is Monday to Friday. Saturday and Sunday you will be getting off. In the off you will be getting tasks. And 9 p.m. is the time. Ganesh will let you know, sir, everything.
Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow, Arun. We'll discuss everything.
Okay, Ganesh. No, tomorrow I'll be in office. Okay. You can call today.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Anybody?
Adarsh, any questions from your end?
No, sir. Thanks. I've got it. Thank you.
Cool. Anybody else?
Aditya, do you have any questions? No, I got it. Anjali, do you have any questions?
No, Ganesh, I'm good for now. Thank you.
And
Okay. Anybody else? If you have any questions, even if it is small, little, different, difficult, anything, you can ask anything. No problem. So if you, sorry? Yes.
Dayan, do you have questions?
Who's that?
Yeah,
Hello?
Prakash, you can go ahead.
Hi, this is Prakash Mishra.
Yeah, Prakash, go ahead, please.
So my concern is that there are many tools in this DevOps. So would be able to complete within 2 months with deeper.
No, it will take 2.5 to 3 months to finish this.
Okay.
See, first of all, I'll tell you one thing. If you're finishing it really fast, you'll not understand a thing. Okay?
Exactly.
Just go with the flow. And then again, I have to see how well you are getting it. Right? Correct or not?
Yeah, right.
So,
correct.
So it is really, really, really important for me to understand what level of understanding you're having in the sessions. So it goes with the flow. Right?
So thing is that right now working as a SharePoint developer with
Correct.
Power Apps and Power BI, Power Automate.
Yes.
So right now they may ask in office they are asking about the Azure cloud, but right now here we are learning AWS cloud.
See,
So
I'll tell you
how
one
much
thing. I'll tell you one thing.
Yep.
See,
Yep.
Okay. Let me answer this question this way. Okay. I call it Tamarind. You call it something else, right? But the thing remains the same. Correct or not? I call it pen. You can call it column. Somebody else will call it something else. But it remains pen, right? In the same way,
exactly.
the names do change in the clouds, but the topic remains the same. You got it?
Right.
So once you learn one cloud,
right.
it is piece of cake to learn the other clouds. And it is always better for you to learn AWS because AWS vast resources when compared to the other tools currently. Other service providers currently.
Okay.
So learn AWS and you can do Azure simply. So I have already told you this also, right? I am certified by both. I'm certified by both AWS and Azure. Once I have learned AWS, Azure is a piece of cake for me. So
fine. Got it.
we won't be having a problem. Any other questions?
That's it. I'm good. Thank you.
You good? Okay, thank you. Anything else?
As I can see, user, may I know your name? Can you unmute your speak? And also Sid. Can you update your name, full name? Because some of those your numbers are different from what you're joining with the names. Sid and user and Dayanati, even I don't have your number. You can drop me your number in the chat. So anyone else? Gaurav, anything from your end? And Surya Prakash?
No, Ganesh, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's Dayanati. Actually, right now I am out of India.
Okay.
I think 26 this month I will be back in India.
Okay.
So I already sent my number.
Okay. Not a problem. Where do you stay now?
Yeah, I'll talk to you Dayanati tomorrow. You can. Sure. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay. And also I can see user. User, okay.
So please send your contact details so that Ganesh can contact you, because you're here, you attended the demo, you know.
Sid, you can share me your number, Sid. Sid and user.
Yeah, please go ahead and share your numbers. I think Ganesh, I'll drop.
Yeah, if you don't have any questions, then yeah, we can wind up for now and see you tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow one by one. We can discuss about other things.
Okay, then thank you for your time. And here are the contact numbers. You can contact from here. I will be there for a few seconds. You can note down the numbers. If you don't have the number, you can contact from there. Otherwise, you can go to the website and text Ganesh also. So yeah, so you can directly call on this number that is on the screen, and Ganesh will talk to you. Anjali, you can talk to me. I'll talk to you.
Sure, trainer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I think that's it, Ganesh.
Yes,
I'll
we'll wind up for now.
Thank you for
Thank you.
now. Thank
Thanks
you.
for-
Thank you for your time, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ram. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.